Last week we lost one of F1's most famous and influential people in the sport. Niki Lauda was more than just your average driver. He was a leader, a winner, and a champion. Here is the story of Niki Lauda. Niki Lauda began his F1 career in 1971, where he raced for the March F1 team at the 1971 Austrian Grand Prix, which was actually his home race. Lauda instantly impressed the March team. However, March's 1972 season was abysmal, so in 1973, Lauda joined BRM after taking out a bank loan. Despite getting grief for basically buying his way into the sport, Lauda silenced his haters when he proved to be instantly faster than his teammate, Clay Regazzoni, who in 1974 left to join Ferrari. After giving Enzo a good word on Lauda, Niki would also join the team in 1974. After winning his first race at the 1974 Spanish Grand Prix, Lauda had left a big impression on the sport, but 1974 would not be his year, but rather 1975, where despite his highest finish in the first 4 races being 5th, Lauda would make a blistering comeback to take his first world title. 1976 saw Lauda battle with James Hunt for the title. It was at the German Grand Prix where Lauda had a massive crash, where he suffered severe burns and damage to his lungs. Despite being on death's door, Lauda would return after 6 weeks in hospital at the Italian Grand Prix, where he finished P4 in one of his finest drives. He would miss out on the World Championship by a single point, after retiring at the final round, as he said it was too dangerous. Lauda would win the title again in 1977, and with that, Lauda decided to leave Ferrari and join Brabham, where he drove the unique and fast PT46B, which was a fan car. Sadly, this car only entered 1 race, which it won, but Brabham retired the car as they feared the uproar from rival teams would be too much for them. Lauda stayed at Brabham until 1979, where he retired from the sport. Lauda returned to Formula 1 in 1982, where he raced for McLaren. Lauda had meanwhile set up his own airline, and needed some extra cash, so he returned to Formula 1 to keep his company in the air. Lauda won on his 3rd race back at Long Beach in 1982. Sadly, he did win a race in 1983, but in 1984, Lauda beat teammate and rival Alain Prost by half a point. Lauda would retire from Formula 1 again in 1985. In 1993, Lauda returned to Formula 1 in a manager position at Ferrari. In 2001, Lauda assumed the role of team principal for the Jaguar F1 team, but his most famous role was being the non-executive chairman of the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team, a job he kept until his passing. Over the winter, Lauda had a lung transplant. He had been absent from the F1 paddock this year following his recovery. Unfortunately, on May 20th, 2019, Niki Lauda passed away peacefully in his sleep. Lauda will be remembered for being one of the fastest, bravest and most passionate drivers in the sport. He made a permanent mark on the sport, and his hard work will forever be appreciated. F1 will not be the same without him. If you see yourself as a film connoisseur, why don't you check out Rush, which highlights the 1976 World Championship.